Hey guys, welcome to the very first video on this channel called Digital Versus. We have here the OnePlus 5 versus the Xiaomi Mi 6. How do these two phones compare in a benchmark smackdown? Well, let's find out. So both of these phones are very similarly spec'd. Both of them are rocking the Snapdragon 835, which is the fastest processor that you can get from Qualcomm at the time of filming. That is paired with the Adreno 540 graphics, and both of them are also running Android 7.1.1. They also both have 1080p displays, so that's 1080 by 1920 pixel resolution. Now the OnePlus 5 though, you can get it with either 6 gigs of RAM, or the version that we have here is the one that comes with 8 gigs of RAM. The Xiaomi Mi 6 though is only available with 6 gigabytes of RAM. So anyway, let's get through into the benchmarks. So we've got a whole range of benchmarks here. I've already run all the tests, so we're just going to go straight into the results. So the first test we have is Geekbench 4, and as you can see here, both wins going to the OnePlus 5 in both single and multi-core scores. So 1973 versus 1938, 6833 versus 6699. Very, very close though, but the win going to the OnePlus 5. In the GPU benchmark, again the win going to the OnePlus 5, 8229 versus 8186, but again very similar. The next benchmark we have is a GFX bench, and all the wins here actually going to the the Mi 6 this time. So very similar again, but if we look at the actual frames, the Mi 6 is just slightly ahead. For example here, 1465 frames on the OnePlus 5 versus 1484 frames, but overall they both average out to 25 frames per second. But going down the list, if we just go through this, so we start off with 25, 25, 21, 21, 41, 41, 42, 43, 56, 56, 62, 63, 60, 60, 116 and 119 frames per second. So overall though, the wins here on the Mi 6. The next test that we did is Basemark X Game Benchmark. So this is a gaming benchmark testing the graphics performance, and again just a marginally ahead is the Xiaomi Mi 6, 44,434 versus 44,411. And the next test we have is Android Bench. So Android Bench is a benchmark test for the onboard storage. So it's measuring the read and write speeds. So all the wins here this time though going to the OnePlus 5. So in sequential read speeds we get 743 megabytes per second versus 714, 228 megabytes per second sequential write speeds versus 198, 142 megabytes per second random read speeds, 137, 24 megabytes per second random write speeds versus 23. In Antutu benchmark, this one here is an overall system test. So the OnePlus 5 here scoring slightly higher, 184,770 versus 182,281. Then we get into Basemark. So this is Basemark OS 2. This one again is another overall system test, and the win here again going to the OnePlus 5. The overall score there 3,731 versus 3,563. Next is PC Mark. So this is another overall system score, but this time the win is going to the Xiaomi Mi 6, but again only by the slightest of wins, 6,698 versus 6,675. Then the last test that we have is Basemark ES 3.1, which is another graphics test, and in this one here the win goes to the OnePlus 5, 832 versus 811. So again, a very close score between these two phones. So that's the end of the benchmark. So overall, the performance between these two phones is very similar. The benchmark results are almost identical. We're talking about a 1 or 2% difference overall. I wouldn't be able to call which one is faster. There's a little bit of give and take between these two. Now just bear in mind though that benchmarks don't always reflect the real world, but they do give us an indication of performance. Now if you do like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe. I will be putting these two phones up against the Exynos version of the Samsung Galaxy S8. We also have some other comparisons between other phones coming up as well. So anyway guys, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.